This weekend, something unexpected is happening. Paris Saint-Germain, the club that's been mocked, memed, and mentally broken in Europe for over a decade, is in the Champions League final. No Neymar, no Messi, Mbappé gone. And yet, here they are, one game away from rewriting everything. This season wasn't supposed to be the one. This was supposed to be the rebuild, the quiet reset. But somehow, PSG has done what they never could with their superstar squads. They've built a team. And that's why, against all odds, they just might finally break the curse. But to understand what's on the line this Saturday, you've got to understand how deep this curse runs. Because for over a decade, PSG has turned Champions League dreams into nightmares, in the most dramatic ways possible. They've tried everything. Neymar for 222 million euros, Mbappé for 180 million euros, Lionel Messi, free but with the weight of football history behind him. Add to that a rotating cast of managers, new tactical blueprints every season, and promises of European dominance. Still, when it comes to Europe's biggest stage, PSG always seems to find a new way to fall apart. This isn't your average losing streak. This is the kind of consistent, heart-ripping collapse that has fans and pundits alike whispering about a curse. The Champions League curse. A pattern of failure so absurd it feels like something more than bad luck. 1. The origin of the curse. Qatar's superclub dream. To understand the curse, you need to start at the beginning. Before 2011, PSG was a mid-tier French club, solid but far from European royalty. Everything changed when Qatar Sports Investments took over, determined to build a super club at lightning speed. Their vision was crystal clear: win the Champions League, and quickly. League One titles and domestic trophies were only warm-ups. The real prize was Europe's most coveted trophy. The strategy? Spend big and spend fast. They started by signing big names like Javier Pastore, Thiago Silva, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But it was the summer of 2017 that truly shook football's foundations. Neymar's record-breaking €222 million transfer from Barcelona stunned the world. Weeks later, they signed Kylian Mbappé for another €180 million. Together, these two signings represented nearly €500 million on just two players. This was more than ambition, it was obsession. But while money bought stars, it didn't buy cohesion or calm under pressure. The curse's roots were planted not in the transfer market, but in the haste and hubris of building a club from flashes of brilliance rather than foundations of solidarity. The timeline of collapses, greatest hits of heartbreak. If you want to see the curse in action, just look at the highlights reel of PSG's Champions League exits. In 2017, PSG had one foot in the quarterfinals after a stunning 4-0 win over Barcelona in the first leg. No team had ever blown such a lead. Yet at Camp Nou, the impossible happened. Barcelona scored 6 goals, overturning the deficit in the last 20 minutes. The final goal by Sergi Roberto in stoppage time epitomized PSG's meltdown, a moment that became a global meme and a permanent scar. 2 years later, they suffered another collapse against a depleted Manchester United. Despite winning 2-0 at Old Trafford, PSG crumbled at home, conceding 3 goals and crashing out on away goals. The 90th minute VAR penalty by Marcus Rashford was the final blow, leaving Paris stunned. Their best chance came in 2020 when they reached their first Champions League final. Facing Bayern Munich, they looked promising but flat. A single goal by Kingsley Coman, a former PSG youth product, was enough to deny them the trophy. No collapse, just a failure to shine when it mattered. The 2022 round of 16 brought arguably the cruelest defeat. PSG led Real Madrid 2-0 on aggregate with Mbappé scoring twice, only to watch the game unravel in 17 minutes. Donnarumma's mistake invited Benzema's clinical hat-trick, turning hope into heartbreak. More recently, even with a more structured squad under Luis Enrique, PSG faced early exits in 2023 and 2024. The curse hasn't loosened its grip, it has tightened. The superstar trap. Galacticos without chemistry. PSG's lineup has dazzled fans worldwide. Messi, Neymar and Mbappé formed a front three that seemed invincible on paper. But football isn't played on paper, it's played on the pitch. These stars dazzled with skill, but lacked cohesion. Defensively, they pressed little, often leaving the midfield and defense overexposed. Coaches compromised systems to accommodate superstar egos. The result was a flashy, disjointed side that relied on individual moments rather than collective strength. The trio's brilliance often came at the expense of teamwork. Without a pressing front line or coordinated midfield, PSG became predictable and vulnerable against organized European giants. This mismatch between star power and team dynamics became a core ingredient of their Champions League struggles. 4. Mental collapse. Everything PSG's mental fragility in knockout moments is striking. When under pressure, they rarely regroup, but instead unravel spectacularly. Statistically, they have conceded the majority of their knockout goals after the 60th minute. This late-game vulnerability fuels their dramatic collapses. One mistake leads to a cascade of errors. Misplaced passes, defensive lapses, and a loss of composure. The 2022 defeat to Real Madrid perfectly illustrates this. Once Donnarumma erred, PSG's confidence evaporated. Players stopped communicating. The team lost its structure, leaving Benzema to capitalize relentlessly. Unlike their rivals, who rally under pressure, PSG has struggled to find calm in chaos. This recurring psychological breakdown has become synonymous with their Champions League exits. 5. Manager roulette. Who's next to get eaten? Since the takeover, PSG has cycled through managers like a revolving door. Laurent Blanc, Unai Emery, Thomas Tuchel, Mauricio Pochettino, Christophe Galtier, and now Luis Enrique have all tried to crack the curse. Tuchel came closest, leading them to their first final, only to be sacked months later. Pochettino and Galtier struggled to balance star egos and tactical discipline. Enrique now faces the immense challenge of rebuilding amid expectations and legacy. The lack of managerial stability has prevented PSG from developing a long-term identity. Each new coach arrives with hope but leaves frustrated, swallowed by the club's complex dynamics. 6. Mbappé FC. Kylian Mbappe's time at PSG encapsulates the club's complex narrative. Arriving as a prodigy, he quickly became the face of the project. Yet his influence extended beyond the pitch into transfers and coaching decisions, creating a power dynamic that distracted from football. While Mbappe's talent is undeniable, PSG became too reliant on him as an individual rather than building a cohesive team. His contract drama and departure rumors added to off-field turmoil, often overshadowing the squad's collective efforts. With Mbappe's departure, PSG faces the challenge of redefining itself without its brightest star. 7. No identity, just hype and hope. Unlike European powerhouses with defined playing philosophies, PSG has lacked a clear footballing identity. Their style has oscillated between pressing and sitting back, structured play and improvisation. This inconsistency stems from building a team of stars without a unifying tactical framework. The club prioritized marquee signings and global appeal over cohesive football strategy. Consequently, PSG's performances have often appeared like highlight reels rather than team displays, a luxury brand without a signature scent. 8. Breaking the curse, a reset. The departure of their superstar trio marks a new era. Luis Enrique's tenure has introduced youth, pressing, and tactical clarity. Rising talents like Warren Zaïre-Emery and Bradley Barcola exemplify this shift. PSG now has the opportunity to rebuild from the ground up, focusing on structure and identity rather than star power. Reduced external pressure could foster the mental resilience previously lacking. While the road ahead is long, this reset might be PSG's best chance to finally shed the curse. 9. The curse was never bad luck. PSG's Champions League struggles are not the product of superstition or bad luck. They are the consequence of a rushed project built on transient brilliance rather than enduring foundations. So is it a curse? Or just the cost of building the flashiest project in football without a soul? Because here's the thing, PSG tried buying greatness. They stacked legends, they made headlines, but when it mattered most, they broke down. Until now. But it has chemistry, a system, a coach with a vision, and a group of players playing for each other, not just for the spotlight. This Saturday, the football world will be watching. Will PSG finally shatter the curse that's haunted them for over a decade? Will this new-look team, built from belief, not just branding, do what no PSG team has done before? It's not just a final, it's a turning point. Because if they win, they won't just be champions, they'll be redeemed. And if they lose, well, the curse continues.